Are you the proud owner of the sleek Cowboy 797 sewing machine? Or perhaps you're eyeing it as your next workshop companion? Well, you've landed in the right place. In addition to the machine itself, the body, motor, and table, you will also find a half-pound cone of number 92 white thread, a 10-pack of 135 by 16 needlepoint needles in size 21, a basic toolkit. However, keep in mind you will need a few extra tools throughout the setup and maintenance of the machine, 3 bobbins, an instruction packet, the motor manual, a quart of machine oil, and standard presser feet. If you are unfamiliar with sewing machines, this will be a great guide to learning the terminology you are likely to come across. To start, there's a small storage drawer to the left of the table. Heading to the top, you will find dual thread stands, referred to as spool pins in smaller machines. These will hold your thread cones while you are sewing or loading your bobbins, keeping your thread out of the way and ready to go. There is a flexible super bright LED light mounted to the back that can be adjusted to highlight most of the areas at the top of the machine and table space. On the right side, you will find the hand wheel. This is used to raise and lower the needle when you are not stitching with the pedal. There are many instances in which you will want to adjust the needle manually, so get familiar with this wheel. There's a knob on the right front with numbers 1 through 8. This knob will adjust your stitch length as needed. You will also find a large bar below the stitch adjuster. Pressing this bar will allow you to sew in reverse, a common practice when locking in the end of a stitch line. Above the needle is the tension regulator or tension knob. This knob controls the amount of pressure on the discs and thus the top tension thread. Also around the needle, you will find the needle assembly and the presser foot, which guide your leather through the machine as you sew. Next, you will find the bobbin cover plate and throat plate. These pieces of metal go under the needle and cover the bobbin housing and hold the feed dogs, which are rigid pieces of metal that pull the leather from below the needle. Behind the needle assembly is the presser foot lever for easy access. Moving up, the thread guides and thread uptake lever can be found. You will guide the thread through these points to ensure it does not become tangled or fall out of the tension points. Next are the top tension points. When threading your machine, you will use all or a portion of these depending on your thread weight, needle size, bobbin thread weight, and material type to create the appropriate amount of tension for each project. On top of the machine, you will also find the bobbin winder that runs across the top. On this machine, the bobbin is loaded while the machine is running, so you will be able to feed thread from one stand to the machine and from the other stand to the bobbin. Under the table, you will find the oil reservoir that self-lubricates the machine parts. Additionally, a variety of gears connecting the motor and the machine speed adjuster. When you tip the machine forward, you will find easy access to the shuttlecock and bobbin housing. This is especially helpful early on as you get the hang of finding the spaces and how they fit together. The bobbin lives under the needle assembly in the bobbin housing. The bobbin is inserted into the shuttlecock and slides into place below the machine, where the thread feeds up through the plate. Moving to the right side, these buttons are used to adjust the speed the machine runs. By increasing or decreasing the speed, you can control how fast the machine moves and the amount of torque. This machine also has a knee-style presser foot lifter for added efficiency. This will raise the needle to its full height, unlike the top lever shown earlier, which will only raise the needle about halfway. The foot pedal near the floor is used to start and stop the machine. Unlike other machines, this will not adjust the speed, so you will need to use the digital box to make those changes. The Cowboy 797 sports a servo motor. These extra powerful motors offer performance unlike any other. This machine includes a 1 horsepower motor, and unlike other machines like it on the market, it does not require a speed reducer. Make sure to check out our site for the other exact specifications. These motors are highly efficient and relatively quiet. They are compact and easy to install, making the assembly of this rig something you can do on your own, no tech required. Because of its variable speed quality, this sewing machine can be adapted for slow, powerful use that requires high torque, or in quick sewing projects that require high speed. The bobbin installs under the bobbin cover plate and is made of two pieces, the bobbin and the shuttlecock, both of which will be slid into the bobbin housing. To install the bobbin, slide the bobbin into the shuttlecock. Make sure the thread is oriented clockwise so that it can catch the hook on the exterior piece of the shuttlecock. Once your bobbin is loaded, slide the shuttlecock into the housing with the gap facing upward. You will feel a click when it's in the proper place. To release, simply tug on the latch and pull gently. Again, making sure the gap is pointing upward, slide it back into place. Feed the bobbin thread through the plate and onto the surface of the machine. Tip the body back down gently. Using the hand wheel, move the threaded needle up and down until the bobbin thread catches, and then pull it up. Before starting to sew, make sure to slide the plate back into place. To fill the bobbin, start by feeding the thread from the thread stand and down to the bobbin winding tensioner. Feed it through the hole toward the back of the machine, between the tension discs, and out through the hole on the far side. You will then reach the thread across to the thread pin. Instead of trying to wrap the thread on the bobbin, simply press the bobbin on top of the thread and guide it as you wind. Close the clip and you're ready to go. At a speed you're comfortable with, press the foot pedal and watch it wind. Remember, the needle will also be moving during this step. The clip will pop open when the bobbin is fully loaded. Remember to clip the thread and remove it from the tensioning plates. To thread the machine, we will start at the thread stand. Starting from front to back, guide the thread through the thread guides and then down to the top of the machine where you will come to the top tension points. Each thread weight requires different tension. Use the following examples as a reference guide for which tension setup will work best for you for each project. Next, feed the thread through the tensioning discs. Make sure you catch both the silver lever and the black lever coming from the tension guide. Continue up the machine and into the thread guide, through the thread uptake lever, and back down into the two thread guides heading toward the needle. When you reach the needle assembly, feed the thread through the hole at the top. Finally, feed the thread through the needle from left to right, pointing the thread toward the body of the machine and then through the hole in the top of the presser foot. To start stitching, use the knee lift to raise the needle, slide your material under the foot, and release the lift. Make sure your bobbin thread and top thread are out of the way before stitching. Use the hand wheel to manually lower the needle, then press the foot pedal to begin working. Quick Tandy tip: make sure to leave the needle down when adjusting material or adding new layers to make sure your project doesn't slip. Use the hand wheel to manually lift the needle and remove your stitched work. Quick Tandy tip: remember, making sure your thread is clear of the needle at all times will prevent knotting, bunching, and tearing. To adjust stitch length, simply push the silver lever and turn the wheel. Quick Tandy tip: if the knob struggles to turn, press the reverse bar slightly to give it some extra leeway. The following are examples of the stitches set to 1, 4, and 8 for comparison. Set to 1, the stitches are extremely fine and dense, while 4 and 8 are much more spread out. Thus, choosing the appropriate thread weight and stitch length is a must for any well-crafted project. A great feature of this machine is how easily it changes stitch length on the fly, even mid-stitch line. This can be used for decorative aspects or functional, but make sure to try it out. Sewing in reverse is a common practice to lock in the end of stitch lines. Simply press and hold the reverse bar down, press the foot pedal to continue stitching, then stop stitching and release the bar. To change the speed on this machine, look to the small box on the right, using the plus and minus sizes to increase and decrease. This machine will run as slow as 50 RPMs, approximately 55 stitches per minute, and as fast as 2,500 RPMs, or about 3,000 stitches per minute. The examples show, in real time, what the lowest, mid-range, and highest speeds look like. The Cowboy 797 can definitely handle some thick leathers. Shown here, we have a stack of chrome tan scraps, totaling nearly an inch thick. In regard to veg tan, at least 2 to 3 layers of 8 to 9 ounce is also very doable. Make sure to match your thread weight and stitch length to the project you are working on, and test variations of thicknesses to see what you can make. Some common mistakes include sewing too fast with light leathers, resulting in them bunching around the needle. Choosing the wrong thread weight and/or incorrect stitch length, resulting in missed or dropped stitches and broken threads. Not checking to make sure that the bobbin and needle are properly threaded before beginning to stitch. And not having your needle in the correct position for the bobbin to release. To fix this, do not pull. Instead, slowly turn the hand wheel until the thread releases. A quick way to rethread your machine can be done as follows. Simply tie your working thread to the end of a new cone. Trim the ends to keep excess thread from catching, and then gently pull the thread through the tension points and thread guides until you get to the needle. You may need to make some small adjustments, but trim the thread and thread the needle and you are good to go. To replace the needle, get a flathead screwdriver and release the bolt. Remove the old needle. When inserting the new needle, make sure that the indent, or scarf, is pointed inward, toward the body of the machine. Slide the needle back into the assembly and reinstall the screw. To change the presser foot similar to the needle, remove both screws indicated, change the foot, and reinstall the screws. Remember to check your oil pan and fill as needed. The frequency will depend on use, of course. Quick Tandy tip, place a magnet at the fill level to help check the levels quickly. And with that, you're all set to take your sewing projects to the next level with the Cowboy 797. Remember, we're here for you every step of the way, so if you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop us a comment below. And for those of you who are thinking about adding this powerhouse to your collection, what are you waiting for? Head on over to your nearest Tandy Leather store or check it out at tandyleather.com to experience the magic firsthand. And as always, happy crafting.